ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 126 of the MTB podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I am Jared.
I'm Liam.
And I'm Trevor.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Trevor is here today on the MT podcast again.
I'm back, baby.
He's
with
back.
An encore, is that what you call it?
Another one.
Another one.
Yeah. That is correct. In this episode, we will discuss our upcoming Chasing Epic trip to Hurricane, Utah in the spring, which we're very excited about. A few personal favorite products of 2023, mountain bike related and not mountain bike related. And also we have Mia from the Women's Mountain Biking Network joining us for a segment in a little bit on women's mountain biking that Jeff and I recorded a little while ago. And also tons of listener questions ranging from drop or post matchmaker woes, how to store your bike after riding it, and the best possible version of a PB&J sandwich.
That's the serious biz right there.
Wow.
PB&J.
There could be some controversy in that.
Yep.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, crunchy smooth, like straight off the bat, just, polar opposites.
Easy now. You don't want to give too much away, Liam, all right? But first, we got Zach's words of wisdom, and I like these words this time. Yeah. He says, treat others how you want to be treated.
What a good guy.
The golden rule.
I think the world would be a better place if we all lived that way. That's how I try to live my life personally.
100%.
I say my life is kindergarten rules. What did your kindergarten teacher tell you?
Yeah.
Treat others how you want to be treated. Don't say anything or,
Don't beat your friend up in the sandbox.
Nah, yeah.
I might have been guilty of doing that in kindergarten, beating a kid up in the sandbox.
I got kicked out of preschool.
Yeah, I almost did too. Gosh, Liam, we have a lot more in common than we do. That's crazy. Daniel's fun fact. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way galaxy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
I mean, I don't. There's a lot of trees.
A lot of trees.
It's just the Milky Way. It's not the.
Oh, okay.
Not everything.
Okay.
Just the Milky Way.
That's fair because isn't the universe like forever expanding?
Yeah.
Basically,
right?
But
the Milky Way is finite.
That's right. That's correct. It is finite. So to put a little more context into it, there was a little bit of research done, I guess. There are approximately 3.04 trillion trees on the Earth, which, and most estimates put the number of stars in the Milky Way between 100 billion and 400 billion. So kind of blew it out of the water, honestly. Not even close.
That's crazy to think about, though. Just 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, and then there's like how many other galaxies out there?
Yeah.
I've heard hundreds of millions of galaxies.
Whoa. That's kind of unfathomable. That's kind of insane.
All right.
Kind of insane.
Yeah.
But straight to bike stuff.
Let's start talking about bikes because
let's start talking about bikes.
We'll get on a
My brain's
tangent.
hurting.
Yeah.
Bikes and rides we've been enjoying lately. Liam, I know you've been riding a lot. I mean, that doesn't really ever change, but
I've been riding good.
Yeah.
I've really been enjoying though riding my trail bike.
Yeah.
Been riding with Trevor quite a bit on the trail bikes. And just putting in big days on the trail bike, like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 foot elevation days.
Yeah, you've been getting after it.
On the trail bike is fun, and then ripping down proper trails. And my trail bike is a Revel Rail 2.9, which is I'm loving it. So
sick.
Yep, I'm enjoying that bike and those type of rides lately. Solid.
Nice. Trevor, what about you?
I've been having a ton of fun riding my mountain bike lately. I spent a lot of time in the summer riding road bikes, which is because it's pretty hot here in the summertime. So that's what I like to do. But it's cooling off and the dirt's good now. And I've been having a lot of fun riding the mountain bike. I'm on an SB 140 right now. And yeah, just putting in big days with Liam as well on the weekends. Big weekend warrior right now. And yeah, it's been fun just going a pretty cruising pace throughout the whole ride. But then on the downhill is just absolutely smashing. So that's what I'm all about and been pretty frothed on it lately.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've been doing the same thing on my Forbidden Druid V2. And, honestly, those rides that we did up in the mountains, was that last weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Or two weekends ago? Yeah, we went up to the San Bernardino Mountains here, pretty local to our location here in SoCal. And we rode some super fun trails with some big rocks and in the trees, which is a little bit different than we're used to.
rode the trail bikes on a downhill track, which was pretty cool.
Oh, my God.
That was super, little out of control.
Fun. Yeah. That was a blast.
A little undergunned, but it was a good time regardless.
Yeah, that was some of the most fun I've had on the bike in a while. And then just riding around here on the Druid and we'll see what's out in action.
We're all doing a big one this Friday.
That's right.
Once this podcast comes out, we'll have already done it, but we're preparing for it. So yeah, that's going to be like a
big solstice ride.
Yeah, winter solstice, 7,000 foot of elevation on trail bikes in the backcountry.
Woo.
So
Should be good. Excited.
That's going to be legit.
all of us are doing it, so that'll be fun, along with like 7 or 8 other people who don't have their wits about them, or else they would have said no.
Yeah,
All right.
we're all a little psycho.
Yeah.
I know. I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh man, should I do it? And I was like, okay, Liam, you got to show me the route. Otherwise, like, I'm not sure I'm even going to commit to this.
You're gonna
'Cause
have a blast. It's gonna be a great.
It is
time.
going to be super
Yeah.
fun.
What else do you have to do? I'm gonna eat my favorite version of PB&J on that ride. So
Oh,
Likewise.
we'll talk about that
Like-
soon.
likewise.
that's a good call. I'm going to
Yeah.
bring a little lunch and stuff.
Where's
too, huh?
Where's Jeff?
Oh, where is Jeff? He's in Reno.
He's in Reno.
How lame. Just kidding. It's pretty cool up there, I guess.
Sometimes I come to work and I just ask myself, where in the world is Jeff? Where-
You might get a different answer every time.
He might
Yeah.
show up randomly, or he might be in, I don't know, Ethiopia.
Right.
Well, I usually know when he's coming back or when he's leaving. I just don't know where he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually ask him every time, and then I always forget
Yeah.
also. And they're like, oh, yeah, you were in Reno. And he's like, no, I was in Kenya. I'm like, oh,
He's
Yeah.
a bit of a man of mystery.
he is.
Yeah.
He's an international man of mystery, that's for sure. Speaking of going places, we are going on a Chasing Epic trip in Hurricane, Utah. Hurricane, which I learned that's how you're supposed to say it.
Yep.
April 11th to 14th of 2024.
Did you say that was a Chasing Epic trip?
That is Chasing Epic trip.
Anyone can join on as of right now.
That's right. Anybody could join. We're going to have a link in the show notes to go check that out. Trevor and I will be there. There's potential for us to even record a segment of this podcast on that trip. I don't even know how that's going to work, but it might happen.
It's going to be a ton of fun, and the views are going to be insane. We're right next to Zion National
Yeah.
Park, and
It's going to be sick.
the riding out there is really fun.
April's
Yeah.
a really good time for that part of Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to join on one of these Chasing Epic trips. It looks like a blast, and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
It is a blast. And I personally have never ridden in that part of Utah. I've only ridden in Moab once, like maybe 15 years ago. So super stoked to get back to Utah. And that part specifically, I've only heard good things about, like Gooseberry Mesa and all that. So
Yeah, it's unique, and there's nowhere really else in the world like it. So it
Yeah.
should be fun.
seriously. So check out the show notes. You say something, Liam?
I was just going to repeat it. Yeah. What you're saying. Chasing Epic trip.
Chasing Epic
Hurricane,
trip.
Utah, April 11th through 14th. Hit the link in the show notes.
That's right.
Come
Hit the
join
link.
us.
Hit the link. Come ride bikes with us. And speaking of bikes, that brings us to our favorite bike products and non-bike products of the year. Liam, go for it.
Yeah. So this is just our personal favorite bike products.
Correct.
Not like, because you guys are still doing the whole
The best of the year.
best
which is
of the
like-
year 2023. And
Right.
we usually do a podcast with that. This is just our personal
Mhm,
picks, has nothing to do with what sold or anything.
mhm.
So yeah, we have a bike one, non-bike one. I kind of put 2 down for each because I'll explain why. The bike, I've really been digging Martin nutritional products, which is related to the bike, but it's not really a bike part.
Right.
So that's kind of why I have the second one. But yeah, when I started researching a lot of high carb fueling options for these big rides,
Mhm.
and especially races where, you know, you can't stop and eat a PB&J. You're breathing through your ears,
Yeah.
and you basically have to fuel as much carbs as you can. And I stumbled on Martin, who's really been leading the charge of this kind of super high carb fueling systems. And yeah, their gels and drink mixes are insane. I used them all summer at every event and big trainings I did. And it made a huge difference for me this year. So
Nice.
I want to second that too, because I've been using that
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
summer because we started carrying them, and it's been great. They're easy to eat, and they have everything you need for a big endurance ride. And yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up for that.
Yeah. And I'll third that, honestly. Like, I noticed that if I have one of those, like a bar or whatever, I don't feel like weird afterwards. You know, like you have
You're-
something
you
like
don't
a
have
gel.
stomach issues, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like a lot of times you have a goo or something, you're like, oh man, that's kind of like weird. You just kind of feel like
Well,
normal, and you
yeah,
feel
and then
fueled up, and it feels good. Like
do
you just
like
put gas in
a
the tank.
8-hour Belgian waffle where you're just,
Yeah. Oh.
you know, some people take down like 12, 15 goos.
Oh my gosh.
Where
No way.
with Martin, you can do drink mix and like 3 or 4 gels,
Yeah.
but you still feel good. So
Yeah.
yep,
Doesn't destroy your gut.
that's my first one. My other one is my Revel Rail 29. I built that up in March of this year. Even though it's not a new product for this year, it's new to me this year. And yeah, I've been loving that thing. I've taken on every trip we've been on this year. trail ridden it all around here. It's just been such a good workhorse, and it's super solid bike. So those are my bike products. For me, my non-bike product is a camera called a Ricoh GR3X. It's a really small, compact digital camera, but it produces really awesome images. So I had that on the Canada trip, the Italy trip, tons of other trips. I went to Taiwan with it, had a bunch of really cool photos from that because you can throw it in your pocket, but you get quality photos that I can actually use on like our websites.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the key to having or traveling with a camera is something that can fit in a pocket.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a little too cumbersome to have a big camera on your waist, you know?
Yeah.
And someone will notice you taking a photo, where this one I can just kind of whip it out and take a photo, super candid. No one really notices I'm like have this big old DSLR, which I have one for work, for, you know, actual work stuff, but it's kind of in between. So
is this a film camera too?
No, that's a digital camera.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah. And then another little bike product is kind of bike related is a multi-tool called the Day Saver Essential 8. It's basically in the shape of a normal Allen key, but it has 8 bits to it that you can interchange. A 2 mil Allen all the way through an 8 along with a T25. So
pretty clutch.
I think it's sick.
yeah, I'm getting them on the site. They should probably be on the site as soon as this podcast is live.
Nice.
But yeah, it goes in my pouch that I ride with every day. You know, it's a small multi-tool that can basically adjust any bolt on your bike. And you actually have leverage and it doesn't take up any room. So yeah,
Pretty
my
sweet.
little long tangent on my favorite products.
Pretty solid.
Nice. I'll go. You know, Liam, like you, one of my favorite products of the year was my bike, my Forbidden Druid V2. It's so unique. The platform, the way that it has traction but can descend like a enduro bike almost, but pedals like a trail bike and is super playful. It's amazing. Love it. And kind of to go with that, the SRAM transmission is also pretty epic. Like I can hear it smash onto rocks and just go back to where it is, and like it just keeps shifting perfectly. I never have to adjust it or touch it, and it just keeps on working.
That drivetrain's pretty solid. It's pretty damn
very
quiet
solid.
too.
Yeah, super impressive. And just pedaling hard up a climb and like, oh, I just need to, bang out a couple gears, and it's just like, yeah, go ahead.
It does it.
Don't snap a chain or anything. Non-bike related, I actually just got this and I'm already like raving about it, but it's a filtered shower head that takes out it strips out all like the nasty minerals and chemicals that, basically like the county or city puts in your water. And I used it for the first time a little while ago, and like 10 times less hair normally came out of my head. So that was insane. And I was just like, actually Louie over here recommended it to me, our DJ Green Goblin. And I was just kind of blown away that how like, I never realized.
You think my hair will come back?
Your hair, you should do it, Liam.
Okay.
How much was one of those?
It's like $150.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then, like you get a new filter every few months.
You just screw it on basically.
It just goes right on. Like, you just swap it out. But yeah, I mean, I was blown away. I always just thought like, man, like I'm getting older, my hair's falling out. And then I was like, you know what, maybe it's actually not just me getting older, and maybe it's all the crap they're putting in the water. And I swapped it out and I was 100% blown away. Like, wow. And your skin, everything feels amazing. So total tangent, not bike related. Filter shower head.
That's super interesting though.
Yeah. I mean, it's something you literally never think about, right? You just kind of feel like, I'm stuck with this water. Like my shower is just how it is. But like, it totally changed everything.
Yeah, the LA water is pretty hard water as
pretty
well.
gnarly.
A lot of minerals in it.
Yeah. I mean, you have no idea how old your pipes are, right? And like, where that's come from, what they're adding to it, like specifically. So yeah, pretty cool. Tried it out. It's amazing. I recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my favorite bike product of this year that I've had a chance to use is the TransX wireless dropper post. And the reason why is because it's a wireless post and it's 200 millimeters of drop. So when I originally built up my SB140, I built it up with a Reverb Axis 170 millimeter drop. And I was pretty convinced that this was the best dropper post in the market. It pretty much is. It's super reliable and fast actuating and quiet. And I got the TransX dropper post to test on for article, and we started carrying them on the site. And it was nice because it's a 200 millimeter drop. I have extremely long legs.
Which the TransX is also wireless.
Yes, the TransX. Yeah, they're both wireless posts. But the TransX wireless 200 millimeter drop post. And since I have such long legs, I had on the Reverb Axis, I had a lot of C posts sticking out of the bike. So much so that it was kind of getting in the way of me riding downhill. It was kind of, the seat was kind of bouncing up in between my legs. So using the 200 millimeter drop wireless post has been super nice just to have a lot of room, and also continue having a wireless post because I do enjoy that. It keeps my cockpit clean. The bike's nice and quiet and just clean and simple. And yeah, I didn't really realize how much I liked it until I recently went on a ride and I forgot the battery to my dropper post. So luckily a friend had another Reverb Axis post to put in the bike and the 170. And I realized pretty quick how much I liked having more drop with the 200 millimeter.
Oh yeah.
It really did make a big difference in my riding. And yeah, there is the downsides to the wireless post where you will forget your battery one day on a ride. So you have to be a little bit more responsible for that. That's how you learn though. So
yeah. When we rode on Sunday, I had ridden the XC bike and a road bike the 2 previous days. And the first time I went to go put the dropper down on trail, that is a 210 and my XC bike's a 150. Yeah. And I went down and fell. Yeah. I fell down. I'm like, whoa, that's way more drop than
it's a big drop. Yeah. But if you're on anything super steep, it really does play to your advantage.
And then once you get used to it, you don't want less drop, you know?
Exactly.
It's you never want to go to less drop versus having more drop.
Yep.
Unless you're Jeff, which he's weird. So,
so cool. My best non-bike related purchase or product of the year was a rooftop tent I got for my truck. I got a Thule rooftop tent and it's been pretty awesome. I've been racing for a while and I've always spent a lot of money just on hotel rooms or crashing someone's Airbnb from a team or something like that. And I just kind of wanted to do it on my own program and keep it cheap. And I was able to get a rooftop tent for my truck and go to races or go camping and kind of just live life on my own and not have to be bothered with where I'm going to do something or what hotel room I'm going to get or anything like that. And it really makes me go camping a lot and be outside more, which is my favorite thing to do. So
yeah,
that's been pretty fun this summer. It's a little cold now for the winter time to use it. So I took it off my truck, but next summer and spring, it'll be good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Your setup was pretty dialed at Downeyville. I wasn't completely sold on it, being that it kind of was low and it took up the bed. But then once I realized you had your battery generator in there, a couple totes, gear bags. And then basically once his tailgate's up and his bike rack's up, everything's locked in there.
That's pretty nice.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Pretty secure. And with our situation in Downeyville, we did have to pack up shop every single morning and evening to go shuttle the cars around for riding. And I got really good at folding up the tent. I didn't spend all the money I could on a tent. They make some that are $5,000+ and will pop up in 10 seconds. This one takes about 5-10 minutes. But as long as you're not lazy and you're willing to do the work, then it works pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. The one that you have, how it's mounted it's above your bed, it makes it so much easier to fold it up and,
it's not on the actual roof of my truck. It covers the bed. So it acts as a bed protector as well. Yeah. Like you're saying.
I used to have one up top and I would have to climb up there and full on
get on the roof.
Not falling off.
Yeah, I just got on my tires and on the tailgate. And it's perfect.
Super
Plus,
easy.
This one doesn't really affect your gas mileage much.
Yeah,
it basically sits underneath the roof of your truck. So.
Yeah, it's flush with the top of the roof, so it's kind of it's not super bad and it doesn't weigh a ton either. And
that's nice.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been really enjoying it.
Sick.
Nice.
That's
all
radical.
good stuff.
All good stuff. Let's see. We have time here. We can jump into a couple listener questions. How about the first one, Liam? You want to ride that? Read that?
I'll ride it on, buddy.
Ride it.
All right, listener questions. When I'm done riding my bike, should I store it in any particular way? Example, should I put my chain all the way down on my cassette, down meaning the smallest cog, I assume? Store my bike with a dropper post up or down? Also, when will there be a product name after Bean the Cat? You added that, Jared.
No, I did not.
It doesn't flow.
When will there be a kettle product named after Bean the Cat? They for sure said that.
Well, that one's probably going to be never because we don't name them after animals.
Yeah.
They're more about locations or what the product's for. Unless it's a blanket you want to cuddle your cat with.
Yeah, we have a beanie. It could be a bean.
Oh,
that's
beanie.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Cat?
Yeah. I don't know. Bean the Cat beanie.
Or just Bean the beanie.
Yeah. The beanie.
Or it could be the cat and then it's actually a B.
That's true. We'll have to figure out some wordplay to go with that. It would work out pretty well.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of putting the chain all the way down the cassette. I feel like that would potentially reduce wear on the clutch and like your derailleur and stuff. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I think in like a very long-term case, that could be, beneficial. I don't think it puts that much on it. I think old school derailleurs where the spring like would actually wear out is probably more of a thing. I think today's stuff is pretty robust and the springs like don't wear out.
Yeah.
Like, that, especially with an electronic drivetrain, there's no spring.
For sure.
I would agree with Liam on that specifically, that I think that's an old kind of more myth, or maybe it was back in the day on old like Campagnolo derailleurs or something where the actual spring would wear out and you want to store your derailleur like on a road bike, let's say in this small front chainring and the small ring in the back of the cog, and just to keep it the longevity there.
Now that being said, if you're in an area where you're about to or you already have put your bike away for the winter, I mean, it doesn't take any effort basically to shift in that small gear.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt anything by doing it, but it might help stuff over the long term.
Yeah.
So
might as well.
If you're putting your bike away for the winter for 3 or more months, I'd say go for it. I think that's, an easy thing to do. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Dropper post, I think, should always be stored up.
Yeah.
It keeps pressure off the seals. Just like kind of moto mentality. You don't want to like travel with your forks cinched down for like days at a time. Right. It's like you go to the track or you go to the desert, then you undo them, get them back up. You don't want that much pressure on the seals. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Completely agree with that. Just the less pressure on the system, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can't hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't really think of anything else that you'd want to do. I mean, you like to lube your chain when you're done riding. Yeah.
When I'm done riding, I use a wax-based lube. So I just quickly wipe off the chain, put on a new layer, then I put it on the rack. And then it's whenever I go back to it, it's ready to go. I don't have to like go down the night before and clean it and lube my chain, because it is, I think all chain lubes, regardless of it's wax-based, water-based, whatever, is best to put on the night before. Let it dry.
Makes sense.
But, that's what I do.
Sweet.
Wipe off stanchions too.
Yeah.
If I'm not
wipe
gonna,
off stanchions, lube the chain, keep the seals clean, keep the dropper posts not under pressure, and should be good to go.
Yep.
Good to go.
Basic bike maintenance right there.
Sweet. How about this cat? Have a Druid V1 frame with Ziggy mullet link. Currently have a really nice set of Reynolds Black Label carbon rims that are 27.5. Is it a terrible idea to go 27.5 by 2.8 or 3.0 in the front instead of 29 and a standard 2.4 or so rear tire? Interesting.
So I'm assuming he's saying the 27.5 for the front wheel with the 3.0 will essentially make it a 29-inch diameter.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Yeah.
That's an interesting setup unless you're going to do something different with your bike, like maybe ride like a pump track or something.
For sure.
Some sort of weird bike park setup.
Jib type deal.
But my only opposition would be the big tire would be actually like in, hard pack berms or stuff where you're going to get a lot of tire roll from that big tire.
Yeah.
It could be fun if you're in like a very sand-based area or even doing a little winter riding in the snow.
Yeah.
That could be a good way to like kind of balance the two. But I think as a whole, it's going to feel unbalanced with way more tire volume in the front than the rear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I mean, that used to be a thing with the 27.5 plus standards that were a thing. And newsflash, they're not a thing anymore. So
You don't really see those bikes coming out.
Didn't
anymore,
work out too well. They do work though, but it's not as ideal.
Yep.
Yeah, that is interesting. You really don't see plus size bikes like coming out at all.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting little evolution of the bike industry when that happened, going from 29 to 27 and then kind of in between, and what are these bikes purposed for? And it was kind of blurring the lines a little bit too much, I think, and it just didn't really work out too well.
Yeah, like Yeti had the SB5 Plus or whatever,
SB5
right?
Plus, like 1 or 2 years. Yeah. I mean, I think plus size tires have their area. I think they're great for bike packing. Like a 2.8 or 3.0 tire on a rigid bike or a hardtail. Yeah. Bike packing, excellent. Yeah. You're basically going to float over the trail. But once you start riding more aggressively, I think the bigger volume is a negative. Yeah. Personally.
Yeah. Checks out. Well, there you go. Oh, Liam, your question. If you could eat only one type of peanut butter and jelly sandwich, how would it be made?
Is this really a question just for me?
They literally said specifically, I want to hear Liam's take on this.
Flattered.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll answer it too.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll answer it. I am a bit of a peanut butter and jelly connoisseur. I love them.
I will say in Downeyville, you made me a pretty damn good peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Hell
I
yeah.
will admit that.
Hell yeah. Well, mostly actually I switched to this bread because of my diet. I don't do a whole lot of whole grain and seed. So I used to have like the Dave's Killer Bread.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. The green package.
Those are pretty
used
good.
to love that.
Yeah.
But now I just eat like the super white artisan's bread, but it's super soft. Also, I think it might last a little longer because half the time I'm eating these, it's on like a 4-hour ride. So it sits in my back for like 2 of those hours.
Uh-huh.
So I like that bread.
And it gets all saturated.
I'm personally more of a crunchy peanut butter person.
Yeah.
But,
You go.
smooth is kind of just the standard. Like,
Yeah.
especially if I'm sharing or I'm buying it like
Yeah.
on a trip, I'm not going to go crunchy because it's pretty controversial,
It
know?
is very
Yeah.
polarizing.
Yeah.
You could find out somebody,
And I don't know the jelly name. I just know the
Smuckers.
no. Come on, man.
What?
Yeah,
I
the
don't do
peanut butter I usually get is like Justin's or like the nice Trader Joe's one.
Oh, I got the Justin's. It's a pretty good one.
But
yeah.
the jelly is the glass jar with like the homemade looking label. I think it's called like Marie's
Yeah.
or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
They got a few
strawberry.
different ones.
Strawberry.
So chunky and strawberry.
Chunky and strawberry.
And what kind of bread?
And I'd go more of like a preserves than a jelly.
Oh
or
yeah,
jam.
for sure.
Yeah.
You get like white bread, you said?
Yeah, artisan's white bread.
Artisan white bread. Wow.
Yeah,
It's pretty soft stuff.
Super
Pretty soft.
surprising.
Yeah.
I totally would peg you for a wheat guy.
I was, but then with my stomach stuff,
Yeah.
it's just easier to stay away from that. Easier to digest for my personal stomach. So yeah,
Interesting.
So, sounds like a classic,
and
super solid.
my
PB&J.
favorite place to enjoy one is at the top of a mountain in the backcountry where it's been sitting in my back or my backpack for like 2 to 3 hours and it's all warm.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Liam, I just had one like that over the weekend on the top of Mount Boney, and it was
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
And that it tastes better up there.
Tastes
you know?
better.
Tastes better up
It
there.
gives you
It gets-
life.
It's like a
Yeah.
little saturated. You can see like the jelly come through the bread almost a
Yeah.
little bit. Like the bread's changing color. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm not too picky with the
Not too
style.
picky.
I'll do chunky. I'll do regular. Like I'll do huckleberry. I did
Whoa.
have huckleberry jam, and it was off the
Huckleberry
chain.
jam is the bee's
Huckleberry
knees.
can be pretty good. I don't like it if there's little like hard bits in it though,
Oh yeah,
like from the actual berry.
for sure. But yeah, I'm not going to discriminate, man. I like berries, strawberry, blueberry. They're all delicious. What about you, Trevor?
So I have two kind of opinions. So I guess the first one
Serious.
is like if I could make an ideal PB and J, it's kind of nostalgic because maybe how I grew up on them. But I like Jif creamy peanut butter.
Yeah.
I got to be Jif too because choosy moms choose Jif.
Yep.
And then I also like raspberry jam. Raspberry jam's pretty good. Like with the seeds in it too is pretty good. I really like
sounds
that.
great.
And then just some like soft like potato bread is pretty good. But
Oh,
what I'd eat normally is Uncrustables.
Oh yeah.
So Uncrustables.
Trevor is a
You're
big
crazy.
Uncrustable guy.
Man.
Uncrustables.
You'll just
while,
put like 3 on a ride.
while you're
sometimes.
riding, yeah. Like sometimes I'll bring the Martins, sometimes I'll bring 3 Uncrustables because you take them out of your freezer, they're frozen, put them in your bib pocket. They defrost
Yeah.
on your back,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
320 calories, sugar, fat, protein. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Wow.
It's already packaged. You don't have to do any
That's
work.
true. Yeah. It's
Pretty
all ready
cheap.
to go.
And yeah,
And
I knew
I-
I spotted one
I
of those
will-
Uncrustable packages in your truck. The
Yeah.
other day.
they're
I will
all,
say-
they're there.
Likewise, in Downeyville, I'm pretty sure you made me a PB&J,
Yeah,
and he had this like you bought a whole loaf of bread from a
From
bakery
Schatz.
from
Oh
Schatz,
yeah.
and he was making PB&Js on the Schatz
Oh,
bread,
that's got to be killer.
and it was
Mhm.
pretty bomb too.
well, and then we had your peanut butter because you had
Yeah.
peanut butter from the local Ventura market.
oh yeah,
Hey.
no, from Winco.
Oh
That
my
actually, I
God.
take that back. That's my favorite peanut
You
butter.
guys are collaborating.
Yeah.
on this.
Is
Connoisseurs, man.
you know, we're about to get cut off from this. We got paused, but Winco honey roasted peanuts, and then they grind it fresh right there in like the back in the bulk section.
Where's that?
Fire. They have one in Ventura, but they also had one in Reno when I was doing my
Wow.
second round of shopping for that. You
Never
know,
heard of that.
2 weeks we're on the road.
All right,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to show me that.
So-
Show me what that's about.
Yeah.
Everybody, you're welcome.
Yeah, a lot of good tips there, biking and non-bike related. Speaking of tips, we are going to jump into our segment that Jeff and I recorded a couple weeks ago with Mia from the Women's Mountain Bike Network about women mountain biking and tips and a bunch of awesome information. So
Great.
Check it out.
Well, if you can give us a little quick answer on how and why women should ride mountain bikes.
Oh man, where to begin with that? Mountain biking, as you guys know, and everyone listening, is just an amazing sport. And the rush you get from mountain biking is great. It's a confidence booster. It allows you to go anywhere on the trail, anywhere outdoors, really. And it's not only a community sport, but it's a solo sport. It's something you can do by yourself. You can just get on the trail and be with nature, which is super awesome. Also, another really cool thing is that if you're injured, if you have like impact injuries, mountain biking is really cool. Like I can't run anymore from years of soccer. Mountain biking is the thing that I enjoy doing the most. And
Yeah, low impact on the body.
low impact. And it's just the best sport, man. Like it's just the coolest rush you get on a mountain bike.
Low impact, high stoke.
Yes. I love that. Trademark.
That's a good idea.
My trademark is it's the second most fun way to get exercise.
Oh, I like that.
What's the first one?
Leave that up to the imagination.
All right, then.
That's for you to decide.
That's for you to decide. Jared, do you want to hit the next question?
What are the hurdles most women experience as they get into the sport, and how might they overcome them, would you say?
All right, I'm going to try and be as succinct as possible here.
All right.
There are a lot of hurdles that women experience. The main one of them is lack of resources, hence why I wanted to start the network, is to have a central hub for women to come to, find anything they wanted on bikes, pedals, clothing, gear, like anything you can imagine, because that doesn't exist anywhere. One of the biggest ones that I personally experience and a lot of women experience is finding demo bikes to demo in their size. So like a small or an extra small. Even sometimes mediums can run larger than small. So that's a bit of a challenge. It's hard to find bike shops that have that. I think that's changing though. A lot of bike shops are trying to be more cognizant and aware of it. The other big thing is clothing. Like clothing for women is really difficult to find. Thankfully, there are some really good women-owned brands that are coming out with their own clothing right now, which is really cool. We just need more people to advertise and push to the shops, because that's another thing. Women can't go to shops and find clothing that fits them normally. Mm-hmm. That's another really big one. And I think sometimes what we experience is intimidation on the trail when it can be heavily male dominated. With that said, I do have a lot of friends that are men who are supportive and help and want to be there. So I think getting through that initial hurdle of like being intimidated to ride with guys or even your partner or your boyfriend, whoever, women just need to get out there and do it, and stand your ground. Like you're there to have fun. It doesn't really matter if you're sending it or not. You're just having a good time.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I noticed when we were in Canada, it was like almost like a 50-50 split, I feel like, between the men and women ridership.
Totally
that was like so
here.
cool to see.
That's awesome.
And it was just like, that was just so much more normal. When out here you see a girl on the trailer, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
It's like 1 in 100. Whereas out there it was 50 out of 100.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Especially in Canada, were you guys doing like downhill? Were you over at
We were in
Whistler?
Squamish, and
cruising around Squamish.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Just riding trail bikes.
Yeah,
Just riding trail.
So I wonder if it's almost like a geographical thing where I don't know. It's more like just girls growing up in Canada are just more like introduced to it. And
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. And maybe there are a ton of women out there that they don't know how to find each other, right? So that's another thing we try to develop is like a central hub for groups and clubs and other women that you can connect with to just go and ride, even if it's just one woman. Like,
Yeah, that's a good segue into the next question, which I had written down about resources to find other ladies to ride with. And that was before I realized you have a whole page on your website dedicated to that. But so the idea there is there's all these different clubs around the world that are kind of their mission is to get more women together to ride, right? So they can all ride with each other. And then your resource has got everything on there. And if people want to add to that, they can just email you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So either email the network, info@womensmtbnetwork.com, or you can DM us on Instagram. We're really active on Instagram. And you just send us a quick little form on what we need to add to the website. It's a free service. You don't have to be like a full-on registered club with a ton of members. If you have you and 5 ladies that ride, like hit me up, tell us so that we can put that on there. Cause you never know. There could be a ton more women out there that in the same area. That's how Flagstaff Lady Shredders started in Arizona. So
awesome.
You just gotta get the word out.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's such a cool idea, because then they can just go zoom in on the map, see if there's anything near them, and then click on it, and boom.
And all the info's there. So who you have to contact, email, call, Instagram page. Like, I guess Instagram is huge for women's MTV groups now too. So that's a good place to start. Just go on Instagram, women's MTV group, and then see all the women's that come up, all the groups that come up.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like we were kind of talking about earlier, like, you know, when I kind of wanted to get my partner into riding, and like she wasn't really super stoked on riding with me. And like, you know, I was trying to push her and she didn't want to be pushed. So I'm like, okay, well, the resources that you have are probably like the better way to go for somebody who like my partner who wanted to get into mountain biking instead of like more like-minded people, right, to ride with and stuff. So
similar skill levels too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's a big one. Similar skill levels. A lot of women feel intimidated that they're not going to be able to catch up with others, whether it's on a climb or a downhill. But the old saying that I found recently is, if you're invited, like, they want you there. So don't feel like you're too slow or too whatever. Like they want you there. Like, show up, dude. Just have a good time.
Totally.
Yeah.
I tell my friends that too. Like, I don't care, man. Like, I just want to ride with you. I don't care, you know, how long we're out there. The longer, the better.
I mean, shit. I mean, I suffer from it too. Brisa, who you guys know, she's become a good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah, she shreds.
And we were hanging out on Saturday for my birthday, and she's like, "Let's just go ride Rocky Peak, dude." And I'm like, "I don't want to ride with you, man. Like, you're gonna kick my butt. Like, there's no way." She's like, "No, we'll go at whatever pace." And I know I could handle it, but she's just such a shredder that I don't want to Risa just leave me like a mile down the trail.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, killer. This is literally amazing. Those are like just the perfect little tidbits and points we could add in there. Any last final thoughts or words or tips for women to get out there and ride bikes and have fun?
Go to your local shop, support your local bike shop, see what they have them explain to you what would fit you, and just go on a bike. If you can demo it, demo it. If you can't demo it, buy a bike. Get on it and ride. I don't know. I totally butchered that. I know you guys could probably edit that out. But
there's not much more to it.
There's not much more to it, right? Like, go to your local bike shop, see if they have bikes to demo, find some friends in your area that you can ride with. More often than none, they have an extra bike you could demo out. Mm-hmm. And and you know, be confident about what you want, and people will help you with whatever you need. Like you guys did when I was buying my bike here 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
They didn't mean for that to be a plug, but it was.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
And now, back to the show. Okay, we are back. How about that?
We're back.
And we're back with a great question that I was actually just talking with my buddy Andre about yesterday. He's in a dilemma with his SB150, and he wants to get a new shock. And so does this guy. If you had to pick a shock for an SB150, would you get a DPX2, which I think he means Flodex, Push 11.6, a new Vivid, Cane Creek EXT, or something else? Also, Being the Cat is great. Keep us updated on Bean on the podcast. Bean's doing great. Thanks for asking.
It's pretty tough question because all those shocks are pretty good.
Yeah, it really just depends on your purpose, right? Your application, what you like to ride.
Yeah, I think that new Vivid is a killer shock.
Yeah.
I think it kind of gives you a lot of the best of everything. It's easy to set up. There's not a whole lot of adjustments that come with RockShox. You know, plus it looks pretty beefy and badass. But
yeah, I think that would be a perfect shock for the 150.
Yeah.
And might as well get it. It just came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, all those shocks are pretty expensive, so might as well get the newest one.
Yeah.
And latest and greatest technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you probably get pretty good bang for your buck. I mean, that Vivid is super adjustable, super reliable. I mean, it's going to do everything you want it to do. I don't know. I say Vivid.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have ridden the Push 11.6 on a 150.
Yeah.
They're pretty happy with it. But at the same time, you can't go wrong with the Flodex 2 either. I mean, Richie Rude races that to victory on countless EWS wins. So
for sure.
You're not really going to go wrong, I would say. But just pick whatever comes to your mind, whatever's tickling your fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan of Vivid, though.
I like the hydraulic bottom out on the Vivid. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, when I had a Push 11.6 on my SB150, it was great for most things, except for like huge like, flat drop impacts, like, I don't know what you call it.
And that's kind of the issue with coils too.
Yeah, big hits. It would kind of blow through the travel, unfortunately. But yeah, like you said, it's kind of linear thing. But that's why I think, you get a little more benefit out of a shock like the Vivid. You get that hydraulic bottom out and super adjustable. And yeah, you could probably make that thing feel amazing on there.
Yep.
Sweet. Liam, you want to read the next one?
Yep. What's up, guys? I've been convinced of the voodoo magic that is CBF suspension. Yeah, boy. Now I'm looking at a longer travel bike, and I have a Rail 29 or a Canfield Lithium in mind. What would you say are the essential differences between these two rigs? Who is the rider that best fits these two different bikes? Any info or opinions are appreciated. Well, I'm a little biased as I have a Rail 29.
You are.
But I think the Rail 29 might just be a touch more of a finished product. Is that fair to say?
A little more refined.
Over a Canfield?
It's just different because one's aluminum and one's carbon.
One's carbon, with the Rail 29 being carbon. There's also the water bottle you can get inside the frame on a Rail 29, which Canfield only has mounts on the underside of the down tube, which to me personally is a big drawback. I really like riding with a water bottle in the frame.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to do like park laps maybe, or if you're going to be beating up your bike a little bit more, not so, I guess, friendly or safe with it, then the Canfield might be right up your alley. If you're looking to have a rig you want to take care of and be nice for a while and go on big long trail rides and stuff, then the Rail 29 might be a better option. Yeah.
Also, the Rail 29 has UDH. So if you're looking to ever have transmission in the future, that's basically, I guess, out of the two options, the Rail 29 has that ability.
Interesting point. Yeah.
Future proofed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it just depends on really what you value, right? Like, if you value that water ball in the front triangle, I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. But the Canfield is quite a bit cheaper than the Rail 29.
That's true. You could save your money by a hydration pack.
Similar feel with a Canfield Lithium, save a little bucks.
Save a couple bucks, huh?
Or maybe invest it into something else like the suspension or sick wheels, good brakes.
Yeah.
All those things make a pretty big difference in how your bike rides.
For sure. Man, very interesting. What a conundrum. Oh my God. Speaking of conundrum, this guy's got one right here.
Ouch.
Trevor, do you want to read that one?
Yeah. My conundrum is one of form versus function. I like having a clean cockpit, and so I appreciate the option to mount my shifter and dropper lever to my brakes. I currently have Shimano brakes and drivetrain along with P&W Components dropper lever. P&W offers an I-spec mount. However, it does not allow for much forward or backwards movement. And so with the angle I run my brake levers, it puts the dropper post lever way under the bar, making it difficult to actuate. So what would you do in a situation like that? Do you A, go with the most aesthetic route regardless of function, so basically run the dropper lever with the I-spec mount, or B, aesthetic be damned? I just run it with a clamp and don't cry about it. What's your advice and what's your default when making a decision?
You know what option C would be is get new brakes that have a better magic.
Or cheaper option could be a different dropper remote.
Or a dropper remote that's a little more adjustable, right?
But
that's a tough one, man.
I mean, I think there's another C that if I'm thinking of the I-spec 2 mount, it mounts under the clamp and it's like a shim that moves. Could you just like Dremel off, 5 mil of half of that shim so you're actually able to rotate it that next like 5 mil up?
That's a good idea.
I can't imagine it personally right now, like where it comes, but that might be an option.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I mean, that to me, your cockpit points, your touch points is like pretty much one of the most important parts of your whole bike. So I would go aesthetic be damned. I would go with option B, don't cry about it and have your dropper where you're going to hit it perfectly every time. It's going to be in the spot for you.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think the best kind of cleanest cockpit setup is the SRAM's Matchmaker setup.
Yeah. Because
you can adjust so much fore and aft and side to side. And I think that I've set up as a mechanic a lot of brakes, like for instance, like Magura or TRP, where they have their own kind of integrated system where it does put your shifter lever or dropper post lever in a horrible position, to be honest.
Yeah.
And in that case, I would ditch that, go with its own singular clamp and call it a day. Because having your thumbs shifting in dropper post where you need it to be is way more important than a clean look.
Yeah,
so I would say the clean look is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Which is, we're talking about one little clamp.
Yeah.
We're not talking about like this, huge, hideous, I don't even know, what you would compare it to, but one clamp, I think you'll live, but
I think you guys are right. As much as I love a clean cockpit,
of course, I love single clamps, but
and like to me, that could decide what brake I get or what dropper post lever I get. Because I do want it to be clean like that. I do like strive for that. But at the end of the day, it's definitely function over fashion.
Yeah.
Regardless.
When I was running Maguras, it took me a little bit to get the correct offsets of each side that I wanted. I think I ended up running like the same offset on each side with like a certain wolf tooth Magura mount brake lever with like the light action because it extended further. Yeah, I went down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Just to get my Maguras to like feel great on a single matchmaker clamp. Yeah. Which like, I guess I have the ability to, but it's a little, it is a little overkill just to, have that outlook. And with TRPs, I never run their matchmaker. I just always run a clamp next to the brake lever because it just always works better.
It just works. It just works way better.
It's arguably worse than the Shimano one, right?
I think it is.
The Shimano one's pretty adjustable, actually.
Well, the new Shimano one is basically
the EV
it's basically SRAM.
Yeah, it basically is. Yeah. And you can actually. Little tip, you can actually use a matchmaker on that. It works.
I've seen that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't always like slide because the like two curvatures are just ever so slightly off, so it kind of gets stuck wherever you tighten it, but you can put it on there.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Yep.
Yeah, actually I had a pretty good luck with Maguras, like having them line up with that.
The matchmaker.
With the matchmaker and the wolf tooth one that goes on there. Yeah.
Yeah, they may work, but they just don't work for every single option out there.
Yeah, or like if you're going from mechanical SRAM to axis SRAM with Magura, it gets funky too.
Yeah.
Between the two,
that makes sense.
And if you did a different dropper post remote per se, specifically for the dropper post, Wolf Tooth just came out the new Pro remote, which is pretty damn adjustable. So
that's true. Yeah, you could try another remote if you really keep on having issues.
Yep.
Sweet. How about the next one? I'm a listener from Switzerland enjoying your podcast. I have a steel frame hardtail Canfield Nimble 9 with a 203mm Magura rotor on XT brakes. My problem is my fork is old and still working okay, but since I put on the new rotor, the fork starts to wiggle, aka flex, back and forth quite a bit when I brake. Would you say the rotor is too big, or is the fork not stable enough? I never serviced the fork, so I was thinking about buying another one. In case of a new fork, I wonder how the geometry is affected if I go up 10 mil travel. Interesting points here. Interesting points. I actually also had a 200 mil rotor on a pretty short travel fork, 130 mil Fox 34, and I did notice, thing flexes a lot when you're braking, and it kind of got me thinking, like, is your fork going to flex more with a bigger rotor just because of that contact point on there, or am I just so in the weeds right now that it doesn't make a difference at all?
Yeah, I think you could just be maybe overanalyzing too, because like let's say you are on a steep hill and you grab your front brake, your fork is going to flex in. But think about how much more flex is going to happen when you hit a drop or when you hit a rock or something like that, or you're braking really hard on the trail. It's like it's going to flex, but you're actually noticing it because you're looking at it.
Right.
I think they're going to flex regardless. And I think if you have Maguras, which are extremely strong brakes with 203 rotors, it's going to stop pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it's going to flex your fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is that fork flex is actually wanted. Like if you had a very stiff fork that didn't flex, it would not be comfortable. It'd feel like a Fox 40 on a trail bike, which you don't want that. So the flex is actually like adding comfort to you, so that, it's not a bad thing to have that flex.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe a Yari is pretty stiff fork as well, 35 mil stanchions.
I believe Yari is
pretty beefy fork.
Lyric chassis?
It's Yari Yari is Lyric. So it's not like, you don't want to get a Zeb on that Nimble 9 or go into a new Lyric might be a touch more stiff than that older Yari, but it's not going to be night and day. It's going to be very similar. So even if you look at a video of a Zeb slow-mo from the side, there's a lot of flex on a Zeb or 38 still.
Yeah.
And that's, your stiffest single crown fork you know, of the big names. So
so they're still trying to make them light, right? Like, you know, so inherently there's going to be flex. Like they're hollowing that out as much as they can.
I would say more
some stiffness.
They want it to ride well.
Right.
So engineered flex is good flex.
Right.
People associate flex as bad, but engineered flex is actually good. You want that. It enhances your ride.
Right.
So, and then going up 10 mile travel, on a hardtail, you're just going to raise your BB a little bit, but you're also going to slacken out your head tube. So if you really want to get pretty gnarly on the hardtail, you can try it out. But, you know, 140 on a hardtail seems like a good sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've never ridden a hardtail.
And he has a Yari at 140, so it's like a Lyric at 140. So it's not like he's not too long on that to create more flex. He's actually quite low. Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting points all around. Yeah. Geez. Well, yeah, I guess that kind of wraps that one up. How about the next one here? Trevor, you want to read that one?
Yeah. What is up, worldwide cyclists? I was wondering what the most unique or a few of the most unique trails are that y'all have ridden and why. Mine is personally a shuttle trail that starts in Willamette Valley that goes through a rainforest, lava rock, and some waterfalls.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty sick.
Pretty cool.
I actually replied to this guy's email, and the trail he's talking about is the Mackenzie River Trail.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
In Oregon.
In Oregon.
Yeah. I have not ridden that, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I asked Zach about it because his parents live in Bend, and he didn't really have very good words to say because he crashed on it. Well, crashed on the lava rock section, apparently. He didn't like that. But I've looked at it, and it looks like a sick trail. But I guess I'll go first. Probably one of the most unique trails I've ever ridden was that trail we rode in the Dolomites, the Pala de San Martino.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
That was like, honestly, I was thinking to myself, like, how is this even a bike trail, like, legally?
Yeah, you basically start on a above tree line, like, mountain that looks like the moon. It's pure rock. There's no dirt.
All Dolomite rock, right?
Yeah, all Dolomite rock. Yeah. And you descend that for probably at least 1,000 feet, like, vertical drop.
Right, yeah.
And it's slow. It's not like fast rolling. And then you get into like also sick trail riding for a while.
The trees and switchbacks.
And then you drop into like a proper enduro stage of like trees, switchback, all the way down.
Yeah, tech.
That was cool.
That was super cool.
Very
unique.
I've also ridden some cool secret trails on Oahu in Hawaii.
Wow.
Some pretty cool like
interesting
rainforest vibes, kind of outside of Pupukea and like above Waimea Bay.
Very cool.
Pretty cool stuff out
there.
Never
ridden bikes in Hawaii.
Like red dirt.
Super red dirt.
That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to ride dirt like that.
Yeah.
Like that clay. What about you, Trevor?
I would say for me, I've ridden a lot of really cool trails, but I had to think about this one for a little bit. But I rode a trail in the Lake Tahoe area off of the Perfect Cycling Trail. And it was a couple 100-yard rock slab going down into a valley.
Dang.
And it was really unique and special. And we had to kind of search for the trails, like, that's what it was. And it was unique. It was a really cool experience. And
that's sick.
I'd love to try that again. It was
wow.
fun.
I love rock slabs. Yeah. You got to ride that sick trail in Squamish in and out.
I rode a lot. I pretty much rode all like the famous slabs in Squamish. Yeah. In and out. In and out was cool because that slab is so famous. And now every time I see someone doing something crazy on it, it like is like, whoa, that's actually really gnarly. Like you think, oh, like doing a little stoppy down that's not that big of a deal. No, it's scary.
Yeah.
The stuff those guys are doing.
Like the first time I rode down that, the video I watched, one of the guys recorded me, and I was like, "Wow, I am so slow."
You're like, can you delete that?
Yeah, like I look like I'm like just creeping down.
Yeah,
and they're like jumping into it and like skidding. And the thing is, like, what you don't see is it goes into trees, and like the super right line is like sketchy, kind of like drop into the trees into you have to hit a bridge that's like a foot wide. So these guys are like hauling into this bridge that's only like a foot wide. And it's like, a big ditch on either side. Or you go the other way, which you basically have to come into like almost a switchback right-hander that like you don't see. You disappear once you're off that slab in the trees. It's all dark.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crazy.
Jeez.
There's another slab up there that had like, it was almost like a skate park. It like came down then back up.
Oh yeah.
And then it had like a couple like drops into a right hand corner.
I remember that. Was that Entrails or
no clue.
One of those?
Yeah, no clue. But I was able to get up on the High Line, but it was super cool, like unique skate park feel.
I remember that. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You kind of reminded me of that trail in Squamish, like in trails with all the roots.
Yeah.
And that really cool rock slab feature. That was pretty rad.
Yep.
One time I rode in Moab and we rode Slick Rock Trail.
Yeah.
Which was interesting for sure because it was like a skate park for bikes.
Yep.
But it was challenging actually because the climbs are so hard to make. It takes a lot of power and effort, and you're kind of just peaking your heart rate the whole time.
For sure.
So I think it would be really fun on an e-bike actually.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit more enjoyable, but that was probably another one of the most unique trails I've ridden.
Totally.
Just completely different. And I think that's the coolest part about mountain biking is that like a road's kind of just a road, but a trail is always going to be different.
Totally.
And you can go from one mountain to the next or one country or state to the next. And it's always going to be something completely different and unique, which is, you can also ride the same trail and it's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know?
It's almost like a whole nother sport when you put it like that, right? And that's that, right. It's like the best part of mountain biking, just all the diversity.
It's dynamic.
Yeah, very
cool.
dynamic. Super cool.
Big fan.
Big fan of riding
I
bikes.
like bikes.
Yeah.
Bikes are
Mountain
cool.
bikes are cool.
Bikes are cool. Speaking of cool bikes, this guy purchased a Forbidden Dreadnought in the spring. Absolutely loves the bike. Plus, it has the best name in all of mountain biking. So, he originally bought the bike for the area he was living, White Mountains of New Hampshire, which has some killer steep, rocky, and rooty terrain and a few bike parks around. Now he's relocating to southern Maine, which is much more flat, but somewhat technical XC-style riding. My question is, are there any lower cost upgrades you'd recommend specifically for a high pivot witchcraft beast, such as the Dreadnought, to make it rip a bit better on the more mellow stuff, but still be able to take to the bike parks on the weekends? Tire suggestions, etc. Trying not to break the bank since the price tag on the bike almost broke my marriage. Hi, Bean. A lot of Bean love in this episode. That was just a coincidence. Yeah, tire. I mean, definitely switch up the tires. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the best would be a dual wheel set option.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not trying to break the bank, so
Yeah.
it's tough.
That's
Yeah,
tough. You're
I
just
mean,
swap the tires.
and it depends what wheel set you have now, but you can get a DT Swiss wheel set for
That's true.
under a full alloy wheel set, 350 hubs,
$1,000.
yeah, $1,000 or under. There's some good deals right now to be had as well.
Yeah.
And I would set one up with, your double down classic enduro tires and set one up with like a faster rolling, like a Forecaster is a good one, or EXO casing like DHRs front and rear are good.
Yeah.
Kind of for everyday pedaling, and then
Or
have
Dissector.
your Dissector is
Pretty
good as
fast
well.
roller.
Yeah.
Yeah, or honestly, just throw the double downs or the DH casing tires when you go to the bike park.
Yeah.
If that's a less
Exactly.
frequent thing, then you could probably just get away with having those, tires sitting there and swapping those out.
Yep. I think that's the sacrifice you have to make if you don't want to break the bank is be willing to just change your own tires real quick. And
Yeah.
that's going to make the biggest difference on how your bike rides by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Trevor are always down the tire rabbit hole and looking for that Goldilocks combo.
Yeah.
But yeah, tires make the biggest difference. Like double downs or DH casings on a trail bike, and then you go to like EXO, and you literally can go from almost a downhill bike feeling to almost like an XC bike feeling.
100%.
Same bike.
100%.
So-
Yeah. And it's great because then you can just have the kind of one bike killer quiver or one bike quiver
Yeah.
killer
Yeah,
and
totally.
And have it be just that trail bike and literally be able to ride anything.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I did the same thing on the production preview the other day. I swapped out the DH casing Continental tires and I just put on some trail tires like, Assegai DHF. And the thing absolutely rockets around now. And I was just like, whoa, I didn't know this bike was this fast just with regular trail tires. But it is. So yeah, definitely some faster tires. And then, just like maybe a hardtail. I'm just kidding.
Or not.
Or not.
I was trying to stay married.
I know, man. Just, maybe give it a couple years and get a hardtail, But if you're living somewhere more flat with XC riding, like a hardtail would be sick,
It would be.
Yep.
Yep.
And like you can get a cheap
and
hardtail.
again, good deals to be had right now.
Yeah, probably around $1,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe $1,000 or $2,000. Like if you piece together a
I
hardtail,
bet you could get a really cool hardtail right now for like $2,000.
right? Even
like
A
good.
really nice
Yeah.
one.
Like zero upgrades needed.
totally,
Good. Yeah.
totally, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, boys, that I think pretty much wraps this one up.
That was fun.
That wraps it up.
Trevor, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
This fine
Of course.
Tuesday.
That was
I believe
fun.
it is.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, we love having Trevor on the podcast, and it seems like everybody else does too. So
Thanks, guys.
thank you guys so much for listening. It was a great day, great
Yep.
show. Liam, thanks for coming.
Oh, yep. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I'll be here anytime.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Leave us a review.
Leave us a review if you want and send it to podcast@worldwidecyclery.com. Screenshot it, send it in. We'll give you a little gift card. And then I think that's pretty much it.
You almost said it, but we should have a party at worldwidecyclery.com.
Ooh.
And people send us party suggestions because we're always trying to come up with what to do for our parties.
That's cool. Yeah. If you have party suggestions, send them in. Like a company party.
Yeah.
We went bowling the other day. That was pretty cool.
That was fun.
Yeah. Got a few strikes. Liam won.
I won the final round.
Yeah. Well,
someone had to beat Weaver.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't care. Me and you were in
we were
for the
close.
final.
We were right there.
And
Jared choked pretty hard.
I was right there within striking distance, literally, pun intended, no pun intended. And 2 gutter balls, and Liam just ran away with it. So.
Amazing.
But, yeah. I wouldn't have cared if you won. But we had to beat Weaver.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That's all that really mattered.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So.
True. Awesome.
Good times.
All right, guys. Well,
we're going to go have dinner. Good night.
All right.
Love you.